Okay, so hopefully learning about the determinants of supply is going to be easier since you're familiar with the determinants of demand. And so just a reminder, like demand, anytime you change the price of an item, that's still always a movement along the curve. So if the price goes up or down, you move along the curve. What we're going to look at this unit are the things that shift a supply curve. Again, we're always think of supply from a producer's point of view. So there's 6 determinants of supply. Let's start with McDonald's. Now, when I was your age, I wasn't so fortunate. McDonald's only served breakfast till 10 a.m., not a minute later. Well, when McDonald's tried to go all day breakfast, they started with their restaurants in San Diego and then expanded and then continued to expand, and now it's across the country. Well, when they did that, McDonald's had to change some of their supply of items. So, like, they now need more eggs. So, like, the supply of eggs that McDonald's has or that they're getting, it shifted to the right. The price of eggs hasn't changed. The price of bacon, ham, um, these egg or the McMuffins, the English muffins, there you go, the biscuits, the hash browns, those things haven't changed, but supply shifted to the right. So price didn't change, supply did. So let's look at some of the determinants of supply. The first one is the price of resources. A resource is anything that's used to produce a good or a service. So here's my example is honey. You've probably heard about like the disappearing bees and all these programs now to try to bring back the bees and like having more flowers and things like that. Well, when the price of honey went up years ago, that's when Cheerios started to change. Like I remember growing up, we had regular Cheerios and Honey Nut Cheerios. And then occasionally they would have like apple cinnamon Cheerios, but that was it. Well, now, if you go to the grocery store, like if you go to Walmart, Super One, Target, wherever, John's, wherever you get your groceries, you see they have all sorts. There's chocolate Cheerios, there's frosted Cheerios, there's fruity Cheerios, there's whole grain, there's multi-grain, banana, like a yogurt kind. They changed their product because honey went up. They didn't increase the price of cereal with honey in it. They just decided to diversify and have other kinds of Cheerios. Or like if the price of copper is really high, which tends to happen, like if we're at war, then that might affect the supply of things that contain copper. So price of resources is sometimes what you're using goes up, but the supply of the item that is being made or produced doesn't necessarily go up or go down depending on. And we'll look at some examples as we go with that. And I'll try to put a video clip for price of resources for you guys on Google Classroom. The next one that I'll have a video clip from the Colbert Report, which is an older show, is government tools. The government can influence supply by things like taxes, regulations, or laws. Subsidies would be another thing. A subsidy is sometimes when the government pays businesses to produce or not produce something. You can see in Minnesota, a lot of farmers get subsidies. The green is Minnesota, the orange tones or red tones are Wisconsin. So there are subsidies, meaning the government pays farmers to plant corn, to plant soybeans, to have your land in a CRP program, wheat, dairy, those are the big subsidies. Or like, let's say you can't afford your health insurance. The government might pay through a subsidy so health insurance can be affordable. That affects supply. Taxes, as I mentioned, affect supply. An excise tax, sometimes they're referred to like a sin tax, is taxes that are on certain goods, like that only people that use them pay for it. So like when you go fill up at the pump and it's $1.92 a gallon, that's all you're paying. But there's actually a tax on your gas. It's already built in though. Well, that gas tax, it's going for our states like MnDOT, so the DOT, so it's going toward our roads. So if I'm paying the tax on gas, it's because I'm using